Hey guys, Mike here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to do what I'm going to call the art of the hype video. And in this, I'm going to walk you through the production side of the house. So how I do all the post level stuff with the effects, the timings, the audio, all that. So you can kind of understand really what goes on throughout my creative process when I'm creating these hype videos. So first things first, we're in an Adobe Premiere environment, and I've already imported all of my different files. So audio files, video files, the clips that I find. And, you know, as a lot of what you see in the videos actually starts way before I even get into Adobe Premiere. In my mind, as I'm looking for inspiration, I'm thinking about, the story that I want to tell and what could be fun to do and how it could relate to where the Browns are right now, and kind of the fan base and what we've been through. I try to picture in my mind what I want to hit throughout the different parts of the song. It's I don't want to sound pompous with this at all, but if you've seen the show, The Queen's Gambit on Netflix, where she looks up at the ceiling and she can just see the game, and then she can move the pieces and then play it out. It's somewhat like that, where I hear a song or watch a movie trailer and I listen to what's being said, and then in my mind I'm thinking, okay, this is where Art Modell has to come in. This is where I can show B-roll of the fans and what they're doing, and I might not have the exact clip picked picked out yet, but I kind of know what I'm looking for. And then when I do, I can say, okay, as it's opening up, what do we want to show? And then I can go look on YouTube and on various video sources. So I look on YouTube, Instagram, stock video, to find different scenes. Sometimes in some of the videos as well, I've used actual clips from the trailers themselves to kind of help paint the picture a little bit. And then that's kind of the cool part of the creation process, because how many times, so you're looking at the timeline now that's somewhat organized looking, but and you can even see as I go through this, you're going to see the parts where like I got lazy and I was like, oh, I'm not going to delete that because I think I want that later, and I kind of leave it there in my underneath a different track so you don't see it. So then I come back to it, or I was like, oh yeah, I want to put that in there. And there's one scene with the little kid that I had him out, and I was like, it doesn't really matter. That doesn't really help tell the story, even though it was a cool clip that I ended up bringing back into the video. So nonetheless, as I'm going through this, the point here is a lot of it I'm not discovering along the way. It does have a method to it. And I did categorize each section of the music and the vocal track that goes along with it. In my mind, I already had the picture of what I wanted it to be. Then I just had to go find the clips and put them into place and have them match up, with the parts in the music that really clicks along with the video. So the musicality that goes into it. So that's my process to it. And not to bash anybody else, because everybody has a different process. And this is probably, if I didn't go to film school, I have some friends who did, and they would probably like throw up all over how I did it. I am a self-trained guy with all of this stuff, and the things that I don't know, I go to YouTube, I type in, how do you do this? And, YouTube just tells me how to do it, and I follow it. Same way that I learned After Effects, not classically trained. I didn't sit through a classroom ever to learn how to do this. I just downloaded Adobe Premiere and said, okay, I drag this over. Okay, that does it. You just kind of figure it out as you go. And that's kind of how I've always learned software. Okay, anyway, so I've been talking for a couple of minutes now. Let's actually get into the video, and I'll explain what my thought process was around each part. So as this is actually an interesting part of the creative process as well. In Adobe Premiere, you'll notice there's that little stutter. That's because I'm rendering the whole thing in full right now. Let me take it a half step down. So the resolution is going to be half of what the typical resolution is. A lot of in editing, you have to do that because, as powerful as my computer is, it's still very difficult to render in real time. So I'm going to play this and we may have to go play back. All right, so the first thing that I did as I was opening this video, which is obviously, if you've seen it, it's the Batman video. And I took that directly out of this. First part is from the Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice movie. It pretty much got critically reviewed poorly. I don't think the audience really liked it. I didn't think it was that bad. I liked Affleck and Cavill as Batman and Superman. Like, I thought they were great. But anyway, so it opens up. So this first part is the Batman versus Superman trailer, and then I bring in at the very end to have it smack and hit home the Batman, the Robert, is it Pattinson? Yeah, the new Batman video that came out with the Nirvana song. That was an amazing cover of that song. So again, I open up the video, and as you hear the kind of singing in the background, and you also notice that there was actually some dings along the way, some music that was in there. Now that's not part of the trailer, so it's this track right here. These two tracks, which I had to essentially loop them because it changes and you overhear it. I took it from the Joe Thomas video that came out earlier this year, where he kind of introduced the season. You can go see it on the Browns channel. So, but in those clips, these clips right here. So in those clips, they had that guitar strum, and I liked it because it kind of like went along with. It just went really well with like the trailer singing in the background. So I left that in just to open the video, and then I don't do that anymore. So like as it continues going, the ding, 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 that goes away, and it just singing comes on. So going back again. All right, so what I did here, you'll notice that I've got a fade. So I fade in my logo. It's really ever so slight, but there's a difference between, as you can kind of see it there, it fades in. Now, if I can just get it right, there you go. It fades in, and the reason why I do that is, it's in the as this melody is happening, it's a and it's not hard with beats. It's just very it's just a melody, right? So I want to have it feel soft in the beginning, and that's why it fades in and fades out, fades in, fades out. It goes with that melody, that soft singing. And then you'll see here that I've crossfaded. I cut out a section and I've crossfaded it so it goes into the next section. So this is one of those Adobe tricks that I use all the time. So it's really easy. You come into audio effects, audio transitions and crossfade. And I almost exclusively use constant power. And that's what powers that switch between the one. If I would just clip the audio tracks together, then there's like usually a clicking sound that goes from one part of the track to the next if I don't have a fade. Now some of them like here and here, those aren't actual cuts. Those were I should be using markers. Again, this is because I'm not trained in it. You can actually set up markers where you go like mark selection, or actually I'm sorry, add marker. So, and where it says, see, it has it right there. And that's probably how you should do it because it keeps your timeline clean. But instead of me doing that, I go to the razor tool and I just come into the part where I want to clip it. So like, okay, well the beat's going to hit right here on this second. So I want to clip it right there. And that allows me then to move my tracks right, and it snaps right onto that moment. You see that? So that's just like one of those tricks that comes along with it. is it's almost, to me, it's like a visual, and it helps because it snaps it right to that exact millisecond that I need that moment to hit. All right, so crossfaded it over, logo comes in, and then snaps right into, you notice that since the kind of thunderous snap hit, I went right into the next clip. I didn't fade into the next one. I went boom, popped. And this is a really interesting thing, because this is actually, I didn't do any of the effect work on this. This was taken all from Baltimore Ravens. You notice I left in the Baltimore Ravens little the watermark down there. Whoever runs the Baltimore Ravens, their YouTube channel, their production work, are 100% professionals. Like, they are excellent. As much as I hate the Ravens, their production team is Hollywood and beyond. The stuff that they put out hype videos every week, chapter one, and the Browns do it too. But it's like, what the Ravens do is Oscar worthy in my mind, as I make this stuff, and the effects that they put on it. And I get it. It's a lot of like color keying, and, you know, and just effects that they throw on top of it. But it's also there's so much. I am such a fan. If you're one of these Ravens producers, I just want to tell you, I don't know who you are, but I am a big fan of what you do. So please keep doing it. Because it almost got me to subscribe to the channel, but I just go back and take the clips once or twice a year. But I love what you do. All right, so I just ended up borrowing two little quick clips, and you'll notice that I did cut it there when it cuts to Lamar Jackson, because I wanted something to open it to let you know that, hey, we're going to be talking about the Ravens here, and then I want to go to their most like recognizable player, which is Lamar Jackson, right? So boom, comes out of the melody right into Lamar, and then fades. So it cut off the Lamar and then faded into the next part of the story. And as Browns fans, when we see Art Modell in this moment, it was a landmark moment for Browns fans. It was when Art Modell, it was all official. We had lost the team. They were going. We didn't know if we'd ever get them back. You know, who knows what happens with politicians and stuff. We just knew that the team that we loved, that we were so invested in and so much part of our identity, is now leaving. And it's all uncertainty, right? That was going along with it. They actually, ESPN, the first time, and you can see the clips on YouTube, the first time that ESPN announced that the Browns were looking to leave, they called us the Baltimore Browns. And here's the thing about me. I'm not from Cleveland. I'm not from Ohio. I'm from Pennsylvania. And I'd only been to Cleveland a couple times to go to games. So I'm not a part of that, you know, that greater Cleveland community in terms of the people who live there. And you'd think, okay, well, you're not from Cleveland. So if the Browns move to Baltimore, that's even closer to you. And you get to see the Browns play right down the street. You know, it was an hour and a half away from me from central Pennsylvania versus like 6 hours driving to Cleveland. And that's if there wasn't accidents and it wasn't snowing. So, but there was nothing about them moving to Baltimore that made me say, I want to stick with these guys. It's the identity. It's Cleveland. It's that city and the people around that. And for the people who are in Cleveland, I mean, it's just like your hometown team, you know, and you have that bond to it because you live and breathe with it. Kind of like I'm here in Orlando. We've got this Orlando soccer team that's like part of the community, and, you know, that's like a big thing, and it's part of the identity of the community, right? Or in Miami, when it was Miami Dolphins, like that, the Dolphins run South Florida. The rest of the teams, like the Heat and the Panthers and the Marlins, are just second fiddle. Actually, probably the second team would be the Miami Hurricanes down there. So it's a part of it. It's like if the Dolphins moved to Orlando, everybody would, I mean, the Miami fans, just the same thing with the Chargers moving to LA. Those Charger fans, they're San Diego Charger fans, not LA Charger fans. And they're experiencing that pain in that fan base. So anyway, this is a pivotal moment because it opens the video. This is the Browns Ravens hype video. For a lot of Browns fans, it is extremely personal that they left. And I wanted to grab one. There's a couple moments. There's a couple different press conferences that Art Modell does, but this was the one in Baltimore where he shows the sign, and later on, which I don't show in this clip, the ugly confetti pops, and it's just like the cheesiest public press conference ever, where they did this. But it was another dagger in the heart of us Browns fans, which is why I chose to use this one right there.
That's how it starts.
And then what he says there, I can't remember the actor he's a great actor, but when he says that's how it starts, it's like he holds up the sign because that's how it started, right? This is the moment. And then I crash again as the music pops, and as you see this big spike that occurs right here in the timeline, I wanted to snap it to another thing. And so those two clips I actually used, and I borrowed. There's a couple of them that I borrowed. The Ray Rice and Ray Lewis thing I borrowed a little bit from my first hype video that I did. The first hype video of the season after the off-season one going in was the Baltimore Ravens one, which you can see on my channel. But I borrowed it from that. So these two clips, I didn't even have to re-edit. I just lined them up right, and they fit because the camera movement in this motion, and I actually, in the original one, I cropped it down because this was actually further back, and there was like writing on the bottom, so there's some lower third writing, and I didn't. That's why it kind of does look zoomed in, but because the way that it's done with the handy cam type action, it feels more like something going along with the music.
That's how it starts.
Handy cam stuff. And then as the music, you heard that so boom, the bass kind of comes in, and now a different part of the song is happening. We've told the first part of the story. We've set it up. It's the city of Cleveland, which kind of pulsed in the beginning, saying, okay, like, I'm not showing you the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm not showing you, right outside First, walking into First Energy Stadium where everything's clean. I'm showing you Cleveland, right? The boom, the bridge, the downtown area, right? And that starts it off. Then I go into the Raven stuff, boom, hit you with that. Then the Art Modell to say this is when it started, and that's the first quarter, right? To give you that first appetizer what's coming. Now, with the section from Municipal Stadium, obviously we can all remember the final game in 1995. It was on TV. They showed all the fans. There was actually somebody on Twitter somebody in my YouTube comments from the actual video who said that he was there at that game. And I remember going to that stadium and sitting in those awful chairs, even though they're ugly and old wooden type chairs. Like, they did have a great feel to them. I will tell you that. Those old chairs were designed to sit in for a couple hours, and they felt good. They were angled perfectly, everything. So anyway, start off with this, because this, as we know, when the Browns left, it was the fans tearing up the stadium. And I wanted to start off with, like, what were they tearing up?
The rage that turns good men cruel.
So that's how we go. The rage, right? The rage that we all felt when the Ravens left, that turns good men cruel, which was, not to say that the Browns fans were cruel, but it made us angry, and cruel and angry are very close. So, when they show those first clips of them kind of tearing up some of the chairs and bleachers, and then you've got, this, I think it's a woman in that picture. It's tough to see with this, standard def old VHS tape that somebody put up there with this, but it looks like it's one of the seats, that she's holding up. But I just like how it told the story of, the anger, and I think the perfect way to show that visualization is with the chairs. And then all right, so I will admit, Ravens fans, this was a little petty of me to put this in there, okay? The Ray Rice thing, I know you guys try to move on from him really quickly. This is an awful, disgusting, ugly scene. But what I'm trying to do is set up the whole, the Ravens are the bad guys here. They're the villains, right? The organization, Art Modell was a villain. It turned us angry till we ripped apart the old stadium. And then the villains, the actual horrible things that happened by these Ravens players. So here, Ray Rice, and then Ray Lewis, when Ray Lewis was arrested for murder, and 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 so his kind of mugshot, and then you had the police siren in the background too, which is like, just again that extra layer reminding you that these were crimes that were committed, and these were Baltimore Ravens football players, and they're the bad guys in this particular story.
This bat.
Now the other thing you might notice here too, so obviously this is the TMZ video, and then the Ray Lewis one, I took from this. It was tough to find actual Ray Lewis. There's a couple of them in the jumpsuit when he's in the actual court, but there weren't a lot of. I mean, this, by the way, this is just a. The original video wasn't zoomed like this. It was a further out frame, again, with watermarks and stuff. So you got to work around that kind of crap. That's why I put the Brownie Postgame, a little watermark in there, because if somebody's going to steal my stuff, then they have to work around my watermark, which cuts the frame down a little bit and takes away from the experience a little bit. Anyway, but you'll notice that it has that little glitch that occurs in there. That came from whoever's video I took this from originally back, 6 months ago or whenever I made my first video. So that wasn't an effect that I put on. That's just the video that I borrowed.
This bat.
And then you go to Nick Chubb where it says this bat. So they're talking about the Batman. They're talking about the vigilante that's cleaning up the crime. And the fact that Nick Chubb, is a Batman fan. If you go to his Instagram, he's got the little bat logo on there. He posts about Instagram and stuff like that. The Browns themselves put up the bat signal, saying that we needed Nick Chubb to come back when he came back from the injury. And he wears this damn shirt, which is, I think that's actually the old Christopher Nolan Batman insignia, because the new Batman insignia, which you'll see at the end of the videos is a little bit different, kind of like more like almost like steampunk sort of looking Batman. But whoever designed that shirt, I give you an A+. That's a very, very cool design. And it's, it's copyright free because it's black and white. So it's not Browns colors. It doesn't say Browns, it says Cleveland. Cleveland could be anything. So there's no copyright on that. So they could sell the heck out of that shirt. I think they probably did. But I think other people probably stole it too because it was just so simple. I don't know who made the shirt. It's cool. Nick Chubb likes Batman. So this is where we're talking. We're talking about Batman now coming in, which in this story, Batman is our Nick Chubb.
Vigilantes, like a one-man reign of terror.
And then we go into the one-man right of terror. So then I was like, what clip? There's so many good Nick Chubb clips, right? There's so many good highlights, touchdowns, and all this stuff. But this moment, a couple weeks ago, when he stiff-armed this dude, I don't remember his name, when he stiff-arms this dude and then runs upfield for like 40 yards or 50 yards, whatever it was, at a critical moment in the game at the end, and he just almost effortlessly pushes this guy. It just goes along with what was being said.
Like a one-man reign of terror.
One-man right of terror. Boom. And then you'll also notice when the power comes in the stiff arm, you hear the whatever happened in the trailer at that moment. It just went along. It almost felt like you were hearing the screaming from that player, like getting stiff armed.
Like a one-man reign of terror.
Now, you'll also see here that I did another crossfade, and this is crossfading into a different clip, a different sound clip, because I didn't want to continue along that one. I could probably just show you what it was. So it was like, and then I cut it because
you don't get to decide what the right thing is.
There's a Lawrence Fishburne comes in the actual trailer to say, you don't get to decide. And I'm like, it was like he was talking to Clark Kent about, you don't get to decide who it is, and blah blah blah, the Batman, blah blah blah. And it just didn't. There was no Clark Kent in this story, so I just needed to cut it out. And by by using this crossfade, I was able to easily go and keep the music going without missing it and without hearing the click. So let me take out the crossfade real quick, and I'll just tell you what I mean, what kind of, how it sounds without it.
Terror.
You hear that? Like, it doesn't sound natural. It just goes, but if I use the crossfade,
Of terror.
smooth. You don't have that stutter effect on that, which is, I mean, guys, this is not rocket science, but you know, it's one of the built-in automatic effects that's in Adobe, and there's billions of them. There's video effects and transitions and stuff. I don't even get into crazy transitions. I try to keep it right with the sounds. And again, I'm just using the out of the box one, crossfade, constant power, no problem. Moving on. Okay, and then you hear the like that new music, the choir or chorus, or I don't know what it is, but that the music, the singing coming in, right? It starts right? So I wanted to fade that in because you want to get it's soft sound. So soft sound, you want soft visual. So I fade that up. So this cuts.
This means something.
And then I left that. You'll notice that now in this next section, I'm not hitting the notes of the beat, because this is where it starts getting. These are the little things that I'm proud of myself for doing, because it's so easy to just play the same song basically the whole way through. Like the beat happens, you cut it. You know, it's simple to do that. But what I've done here a little bit is as the music fades from one thing to another, I leave the clip going in order to transition through, instead of transitioning visually with like a wipe or something like that. I'm transitioning with the audio portion of what she's saying. So I don't know if that makes sense, guys, but that's kind of the thought process behind this is you don't have to always show it with video or with an effect or a transition. You can tell it and you can show that story borrowing from what's in the audio. So let's show it again.
This means something. It's all some people have.
Right? So this means something soft, and then this is all what people have. That just, it kind of goes up and flows down, and that's where that transition occurs. I could have put in some sort of actual video transition there, but I don't think it was necessary, because it just was, again, she was almost continuing a thought in that sentence. This was actually, some of the people that you see in here was from B-roll, and I linked the guy's video in the original one that I put on YouTube of this. And I'll put it in the description as well. About, it's a really cool video. What this guy does, he went out, and I don't think he's a Browns fan. He was just a video guy, and he went out and captured Browns tailgating, and was like, these are real fans. And I use a lot of that because, believe it or not, there's not a ton of B-roll or Browns fan footage. I have to go through so many games to find when they actually pan to the audience. They don't do it that often. So, and when they do, it's like the pumpkin guy. And, sorry, but like the pumpkin guy doesn't help me tell this type of dramatic story. I need like fans. I need the actual reaction. I need what they're doing. So these guys, when it says, this matters, right? These guys are up in probably the earliest hours of the morning, right outside the stadium, probably in the Muni lot. I can't really tell by this, and putting up a giant flag, cold weather. It looks like it might be raining. Putting up a giant Browns flag, where it says it's always football season, with the Browns helmet on top of their orange painted RV. I mean, that, again, visually, it says all of this matters to them, to us as fans.
This means something.
So this means something. And then with this clip,
It's all some people have. It's all that gives them.
so it's all people have, and all gives them hope. There's a transition on top of that as well. With
People have. It's all
I just loved this guy smoking, and this woman in front of him. They just remind me of like Midwesterners. I've been living in Florida for like 20 years now, coming up on 20 years. And there's a difference in culture between Floridians and the Northerners. And, Pennsylvania and Ohio, I went to school with a college with a lot of people from Ohio, and we're the same. It's the same sort of people. That's why you got people in Youngstown who are Steelers fans, like surprisingly, but that's how it is. We're all kind of within the same tribe, you'd say. And these two people, and then even the guys in the back wearing all the Browns beads and stuff like that. I wanted to kind of tell them, like, you're not seeing a guy wearing Gucci or like Armani. Like, this is a dude who, it looks like he might have made his own hat. He's got his beard all tied up with rubber bands. He's wearing probably a easily 20-year-old shirt. And then, with his vest on top, with an orange vest on top of that. And then the woman right next to him is kind of sitting there, not even wearing anything about brown. She's just there, right? She's just like, she's suffering through it. She might even be a Ravens fan. She got purple glasses. I don't know, but I don't think she's wearing anything Cleveland.
That gives them hope.
So going back again.
It's all some people have. It's all that gives them hope.
And I didn't mean, it's weird because it's what it says, like, this is all, it's probably not. They probably have a lot, probably living their best life, right? I was just using the imagery of this particular group of people to kind of be like, it's important to these guys, right? Oh, she is wearing a brown shirt. There you go. Okay, sorry. If you happen to be the lovely woman in this video, I apologize for originally saying that you could be a Ravens fan because of the glasses. She is wearing a Browns thing. All right, so we take this through. And I got a little sloppy, or not sloppy, just lazy. I didn't drag this to the point, where I clipped it to these guys. Because I think I actually had more of them in the first time. And then I wanted to, this is where the music actually comes back here. So let me play it again. Where I start syncing the music to the actual clips. And I do that purposely as well. So flag.
This means something. It's all some people have. It's all that gives them hope.
So that was the hoof, right? So you were doing like, here we go, brownies, here we go, hoof. And then, so it went actually, and this was pure B-roll from those two, from the original thing, I believe, right? No, maybe not. Okay. So I did clip it. I don't remember all of it. And as you can see, I even have a video under here. I'm not even sure what that is, but that might have been what I wanted to have there originally. Again, it's like when you're programming code and you're just kind of throwing your code in there. You're putting it perfectly where you should be, right? It's your own process. I'm not working with a team here. It's just me. So sometimes I leave clips and, sometimes I don't hide the right clips and then I have to go back and screw it up. But this is not how you should do it, kids, boys and girls. I'm not doing it right, but it is what it is. So I got these guys going, these three dudes, Johnny fucking football. So this must have been from obviously the Johnny era. I didn't even pick up till right now that he was wearing a Johnny football shirt. But again, it's a couple years ago, but it's more modern, right? It's not like 90s clips or even 80s. I needed some sort of modern fan. He could technically, if he's still my dad's a Johnny Manziel. He could technically still be a Johnny Manziel fan. It could be 2020, but not likely. All right, so again.
People have. It's all that gives them hope.
And you'll notice there was a beat drop that we put this guy up here. And I think this is kind of symbolic, right, of what this guy's doing. We had the BLM movement, all the things going on. It looks like he's got a little cigarillo in there, right? Like a Swisher or something he's smoking, with his hands up. Like, this is all we have, right? It's the only thing that gives us hope is our Cleveland Browns. And then we've got the beefy looking elf, an angry looking elf, right? Carrying, looks like Steeler helmet and a Bengals helmet there, which, I mean, somebody just literally drew that on the back of what appears to be some sort of fabric based jacket. So it's not like a leather jacket or anything. It's some fabric based jacket. Somebody just drew that on the back, and it's awesome looking. And it really is like, boom, it just told the story so perfectly. And I love that these guys who made this video put some of this stuff in there. A lot of it was happy and, playing cornhole and stuff, but there were a couple images like this. And I'm like, holy crap, dude, you could almost make a poster out of that image. So it just works so great.
It's all that gives them hope. People.
And then here we go into like, people hate what they don't understand. So in this particular one, obviously we know that Colin Cowherd does a lot of like, not hate, but like, he rags on the Browns a lot because I think he gets a lot of clicks and a lot of attention from it, right? He's in the business of attention. And if he's talking about the Browns and he's giving his opinion, which, it's not always wrong, right? Baker did have to prove a lot this year. The Browns have historically been underwhelming. We've all lived through it. He's just kind of telling it as it is and as he sees it. So he's not always right, but he's not always wrong either. So anyway, the reason why I use this is because I think us as Browns fans get really pissed and we get really defensive and sensitive when people bash our Cleveland Browns. Colin happens to be probably the biggest offender. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones on ESPN and crap like that do it as well, but Colin is like the face of ragging on the Browns. And then I like how in this segment, he was actually talking about Baker Mayfield. So you have Baker in the background, and then it says Baker Mayfield. So it's like hating on Baker, and he picks on Baker a lot, right? So talking about that as she's talking about what it is.
People hate what they don't understand.
In this, we're like hate what they don't understand. So this is one of the most iconic images, I think, from this past season, when the Cleveland.com beat writers all said we were going to lose to the Cowboys, right? I mean, that was such a moment that I didn't put this in there to hate on these guys. And there's somebody in Twitter who's like, oh, you shouldn't have gone after the Cleveland media like they're the enemies. I wasn't making them the enemies. The enemies are clearly, you have the main enemy, which is, like the Joker, and that's the Ravens. And then you got the not enemy, but not necessarily on the good guy's side either. Guys in there like Harvey Dent or Catwoman, right? So that's what the Cleveland media is in this particular portion. They're there. I love the facial expressions on some of these guys, like Dan, and that's his official face, but it's right. Terry Pluto. I really do like you, Terry. I like you a lot. You're one of the older crew of media that I really do respect. You just remind me of my dad. And I like Terry Pluto a lot. It pained me to put some of these guys. And I think Hayden is actually a good guy too. Hayden took it with stride. He understands meme culture. He's a younger dude. Mary Kay just, I don't know. I don't see her. The only way I see Mary Kay stuff is when I look at Reddit, because Brown's Reddit, because they always post her crap like it's, gospel, like something important. But I never see it because she's blocked me because I was critical of some of the stupid questions she was asking. Anyway, really simple. I didn't have to do anything like this. I didn't even need to put a background on this. I just left it black, which is it's an uncomfortable shift from Colin Cowherd, which is like this bright studio, to like a flat image. So I was like, I got to do something with it. So I just zoomed it in. I put a scale effect on it. It's not, again,
Hate what they don't understand.
a light scaling to give it a little bit of life. And then it goes to Tony. And initially in this, the way that I had it set up was just Colin and Tony, where here and here. So it looked kind of like this.
People hate what they don't understand. Be their hero.
Which I think was good as well, because it was really kind of going after just those two. But I think with with the Cleveland media, and there's some people I love in the Cleveland media, like Cameron Justice. I love that chick. She's awesome. Ken Carmen is a freaking legend. Like I've never spoken to Ken. I've maybe interacted with him a little bit. As active as I am in Brown's Twitter, I haven't really interacted with him that much. He doesn't follow me or anything. I follow him, obviously. But there are some people in the Cleveland media that I wanted to kind of be somewhat put on the spot here. Because again, it's 2020, it's the Ravens. They didn't believe it. Like, our own media didn't even believe in us. I don't think, and I'll have to go back, guys, but I don't think in any of the pregame shows ever have I said a score prediction that we were going to lose that game. In the 2 years we've been running this channel, I mean, before that, yeah, there was definitely games where I'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to absolutely lose that game. You know, the Deshaun Kaiser and Cody Kessler years, Thad Lewis throwing him in there. There's so many, but we just knew we didn't stand a chance before we even got on the field. But with this Browns team, I'm always glass half full and optimistic with these Browns. These Browns can beat teams. So it bothered me, and it became that meme, that everybody laughed. They're like, these guys, not a single one of them thought we were going to beat the Cowboys. And Scott and Terry at least had a close game. But I just wanted to use that. So that's why I'm using that. No offense. I don't mean to make you guys any more of the bad guy than you already do to yourselves just by doing what you do. But that's why I had that in there, and as opposed to just making a Colin and Tony. But I also thought it was kind of cool.
They don't understand.
Using Tony, how he's like smiling, and he's got the Browns helmet in the background. He's like smiling and laughing. Just how smug that dude is. And you get this on-air personality, Grossi, and then you've got Grossi, sorry. And then you've got how he asks his questions, and then you get how he interacts with fans. They're just completely different human beings, and it's not consistent at all, which is why I wanted to show him laughing and smiling.
Be their hero.
I think Donovan he's on Donovan's show. And then, okay, so when we go to be the hero. So be the hero they want you to be, I think.
Be their hero.
And I cut it. So be their hero. And I was like, all right, what moment would I say and like really encompassed that phrase, that statement? I was thinking about, there's two of them. One was when he won the game against the Jets and Baker was running off the field and he takes his hat off and it's in slow motion. He puts his hat up to the fans. The other one was just when he came into the game, and I've used that clip so much of when he first enters the game, that Jets game, when Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are talking about it, and he's walking onto the field and he kind of does this little like head click thing, and he just walks up there and it's like, let's go, and he fires the ball to Jarvis. I was thinking about using that, but it's not as like, it's a cool moment and it's a starting moment, but it's not a epic moment. And it's not a become your hero moment just by walking on the field and throwing a pass. This is such an amazing play, and it's been posterized so many times, and it's just so great. It was a reverse wide receiver pass where Baker floated out there. I actually did it last week as well, a similar play to this, and Jarvis took a roughing the passer penalty against him as he floated it up, and Baker made an amazing catch, incredibly athletic catch, I would say. Just goes to show like what kind of the athletic ability that Baker has, that when you put him with these other guys like OBJ and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Jarvis, like he doesn't look all that athletic, but in general he's got it. He's got some skill. Okay, anyway, let's go back to it.
Be their hero.
Be their hero.
Do you know
Okay, so it was subtle, but I did have to sync up the the throwing, like when he throws the ball and the spiral comes off his hand, I guess his left hand, and it goes right there. And then when Baker catches it, there's also a slight uptick in volume and kind of the beat when that happens too.
Be their hero.
Do you know the oldest lie in America?
Very subtle, but I think worked perfectly. And I think I actually even got lucky with how that fell in. And I was like, ooh, I like that. I'm leaving it alone. And then you get the Lex Luthor, the devils come from the sky sound, or clip. And there's another audio transition off of that.
America, Senator.
The clips that I'm using now, I just found a really cool section of, and I probably meant to cut this walking section out. I don't know why I left that in. That could have been a mistake, because I think I remember going through it, be like, I want to clip that out. I don't need that. But I ended up not doing it for whatever. Maybe because my brain goes in 15 different directions as I'm doing this. Sometimes I make a mistake and don't take out something I should have. But yeah, so then this is just from one of the Ravens videos, and it doesn't go along with the music. It's not meant to. It's just meant to like kind of visually talk about the Ravens being the bad guys again, reinforcing that. And by not syncing it to the music at this point, it almost confuses you, because you've felt that a couple times along the way. So it actually raises your sense of looking at it as he's talking. So it's weird, but that's kind of what I was going for.
The oldest lie in America, Senator. The devils don't come from hell beneath us. They come from the sky. And then I'm actually, this is just stock video. Those aren't ravens. I think I just looked for crows, which are just, again, blackbirds. So, and I found this cool one on Video Blocks, which is a stock, they have a cool of like photos, videos, sound clips, and like After Effects and Premiere projects that you can just download as many as you want for $65. I'm like, give it to me. So I found this thing of the birds flying, and it goes along with the devils come from the sky, which are ravens, which are birds that are flying, and they're in the sky. So it just went again. This is one of those moments as I was watching the Batman versus Superman trailer, and as he's saying that, I'm like, oh, because this also, you'll notice that I put it in purple here. I do some sort of visual markers along the way if I'm trying to do something with it and I'm trying to get it right. Because when it's all blue, it's, like, where am I? It gets confusing. So I just kind of label them that way. And initially I didn't have the birds. I was like, I don't know if I want to go find stock footage and deal with it. I just went to Video Blocks. I typed in crows or birds flying or something like that. And it was like the first thing that came up out of all of them. There's like, happy skies and clouds. And then this one was dark. And I was like, ooh, I had no filtering over it, nothing. This is just the raw footage from Video Blocks. And it just told the story again. The Ravens are the bad guys. They're the enemy. They come from the sky.
20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left?
So this is obviously the Drew Carey from the first game in 1999 against the Steelers, where they blew us away, and Tim Couch came in, and his first pass was the interception. So I actually pulled it there on YouTube. The whole first game is on YouTube. So I downloaded it, and for anybody who's like, how do you download videos from YouTube? You just Google download video from YouTube, and there's like 6 different web-based applications where you just copy the URL from the video, put it into that, click go, and it gives you several options of what you want to download it in. Do you want it in 720, 1080, native 480 if that's what it happens to be, or just the MP3 file of it if you just want the audio. Not everyone works, and they're not all great, and there are probably a lot of malware that goes along with this. So definitely have virus software on your computer if you can, because you don't want any of that crap. You can download clips, and then you can put it into Adobe. You just drag it over and, take it from here, drag it in, drop it, and then you can manipulate it by, grabbing the different sections of it and dragging what you want, whatever.
So in this particular case, you'll notice that there's this overlap here that didn't go along with music. It actually went along with music here, where this clip is between the two tracks. And that's when I think Drew Carey was supposed to come on, but I think it was because the birds were kind of flying off the screen there that I kind of left it, and I was like, let them fly away, and then I'll come into Drew.
20 years in Gotham.
So then you got Drew Carey in here who's announcing Cleveland rocks, Cleveland rocks. And I think most people, older Browns fan, remember that moment. And then it pans over to Big Dog. So this is how many good guys are left. And again, I've never met Big Dog. I just know he was kind of the first super fan in Cleveland, and without trying to be like a look at me guy, he just wore a mask. He's like, we're the Dog Pound. I have a dog mask. I'm going to wear it. He's a big dude. And he kind of encompassed what the Dog Pound was in the old Municipal Stadium. So it was kind of cool that they put him there on the, in the front row in the I guess Dog Pound of the new stadium. And how many good guys are left? Like how many of those fans stayed with us through those 20, it said 20 years, which I felt was close enough. How many painful years we suffered. And it was just a great line. It just went along with the video.
20 years in Gotham. How many good guys are left?
And I actually dragged this out a little bit. Initially, I kind of cut it like here. And then I had some more stuff. But I was like, nah, I want to drag this out because I really wanted you to taste this moment and really kind of absorb it. It's like...
How many good guys are left?
Big Dog.
How many stayed that way?
Again, going back to B-roll, this is the kid. You'll notice that I dragged this on top of another track. So I was just like, I felt like it was a good transition between the older stuff, how many good guys are left, how many new fans there are now. My kids are new fans. This kid is, a couple years ago, he's probably in his early teenage years now, but obviously dressed up with the glasses on his hat or his whatever he's wearing on his head, and the mustache thing and the brown stuff. I mean, he's been baptized, right? So he's a new Browns fan. And so it kind of tells like how many people are left. And then I kind of go into like, hey, there's this new crop of Browns fans that are coming up just like we did. And I wanted to, again, I didn't have that in, and I was like, you know what? I want to bring this kid back in because not only does it kind of tell that story that I just kind of explained, but it also has this cool transition, almost like a speed up moment that the guy, the videographers who actually did, and I loved it. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to leave that in. Watch. Just watch at the very end of this kid. You see that sped up? So I didn't even have to there's no transition on that. It just sped up, and then it went into the Brian Sipe and Joe Thomas couple here on the left, and walking into obviously First Energy Stadium. With Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden might have even been on the team at the time, so I'm not gonna crap on that guy for that. My son still has a Joe Hayden jersey. And it's also kind of an interesting side note of how many Browns fans, you go to Browns games, how many Browns fans wear older jerseys? Like they maybe only own one, right? They will own one jersey, they bought one, or they were given it to, and that's the Browns jersey that they're going to wear for every game they go, or maybe that one game a year, they're going to put on the Chris Spielman jersey, And you see it every game, even down here in Tampa when they came down a couple years in a row for preseason games. I still saw the Spielman jersey, and I'm like, it's just amazing that I was like, are they wearing it for the memes, or like is that like legitimately the jersey? I think it is. All right, moving on. I just thought this is cool B-roll. And you'll notice I labeled it in that green colors. I wanted to use it. I cut it right when actually the video team, there's some text that pops up there, so I cut it right before the text. And I also like how this guy, as the music is building up, this guy on this side right here on the edge, he kind of just comes into the frame and then it crops out. So you're almost like you're looking at all these people partying and you're like, all right, cool. And then this guy kind of like fades in and it crops, stops, boom. Cut. Highlights. Now, obviously in here, it's Batman. Nick Chubb is what I kind of, was building it up. We had Bruce Wayne walking into the stadium, and now we got, Batman is going to start tearing up the Ravens, the bad guys. One thing that I did here, which is, you probably wouldn't pick it up, but so there's a natural zoom in that the actual game camera crew zoomed in a little bit, and I liked it. Because again, it's building up the music, but I actually threw in an additional zoom on top of that just to give it a little bit more of that effect. See the bottom of the screen there? At the bottom of the screen, the scoreboard comes at you a little bit more. That's because that's the effect that I threw on there, just to give it that little extra note of is zooming in, coming right at you. Batman's attacking now. Switches to another highlight, on the beat, on it again. And you'll also notice like this just dumb luck, but it lined up perfectly with that little stutter step that he did. I thought that was cool. And then we go, and then now faster, and we go to the next, go a couple games in the future to the Cowboys game, which is another kind of big tentpole game for us. And it's fast. The music speeds up. Kareem Hunt just jets out. And I wanted to add in Kareem Hunt too, because they're the dynamic duo, right? I wouldn't call him Robin to Nick Chubb's Batman, but I would definitely, he's on the level, right? He's like, I don't know, another superhero that hangs out with Batman. Not Robin, just somebody else. I also like that too, like the little audio, the zoom kind of sound as he goes over the goal line. It's subtle, but I liked it. There's also some little sound effects too. That when he's standing up and he flicks the ball, and then it goes into the next one.
Black and blue.
When he says black and blue, there's obviously not a black and blue team, but they're blue, the Tennessee Titans. So I was like, he said blue, and I was kind of thinking like maybe Myles Garrett is making Tannehill like black and blue because he's like bruising him or something like that.
God versus man.
Also, like God, Myles Garrett is like pretty close to it. Versus man, Ryan Tannehill.
Day versus night.
Nothing there. I just thought this was an awesome clip because I needed the transition. So there was really not a lot of thought. I just knew that I wanted to use this somehow in the video, and it does transition pretty well into the next one. Plus, I'm a huge Hollywood Higgins fan, and I like to put Higgins in as many of my hype videos as possible because I freaking love the dude, and all he does is make big plays and is humble and great fan of Baker, and he took the $1 million deal after that stupid year with Freddie. Freddie didn't play him. He came back anyway, and he's still scoring touchdowns. He's got the best touchdown celebration in the NFL, the red carpet, and when they roll it out, something's awesome is going to happen. And then you get Baker sliding in there as well. Boom. Slides in there, and then the crescendo. That was actually pretty tough to time up, that right there at the end. You'll notice I screwed it up here. So right here, I was trying to find, I'm like, what is the moment that I want to have match with the visual? And it just went back and forth so many times. This is just me chicken scratching and trying to figure it out on the fly. But I did as best a job. It might have been a fraction of a second off, a fraction of a second too late, or maybe even too early. I was sick of playing with it, so I just let it go. I think to the naked eye, I think it's fine, but I still think that there was an opportunity there somewhere. And I think that the reason why I couldn't sync it up perfectly is because it's actually slow motion. The clip that we're watching now. So it's like, it's tough to put a boom moment, a big, epic beat touching moment going into slow motion. That might have been why I had a challenge with it. I also like when the ball's in the air, it kind of gets silent. And then I cut off a lot of the video, as you see here, cut that off, and then it goes into the portion where Ben Affleck is looking at Superman in his big iron bat suit saying, "Do you bleed?" And this is another one that I didn't use any effects. There's nothing that I did on this clip. This is all from the Baltimore Ravens production team. Again, big fan of the Baltimore Ravens production team. And it was perfect because it had Lamar Jackson looking very defeated, and it just kind of, it did it.
Tell me, do you bleed?
Do you bleed? Right on the note, right? You see Lamar Jackson, do you bleed? And then you notice that, like, as the music was kind of like coming together there, that's how Nick received the ball.
Oh, you will.
This part here, right, where I actually had initially in the video the entire run from the receiving the pitch all the way around, all the way up, and it just, we all know that he did it, so we don't need to relive that. And I've done that a lot in my hype videos. I really wanted to get to the next part of the video, which is the big Nirvana entrance from the new Batman trailer, which, by the way, go watch it. Whoever made that trailer was really well. It was excellent job they did. And then they found this amazing version of Something in the Way, which is just fucking brilliant. In the air.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
So you'll notice I didn't fade these two audio tracks. That's the Ben Affleck asking if he bleeds right into Something in the Way. And this is because it naturally builds with the Ben Affleck, the part of the trailer the music was behind, and then it does actually drop the beat to another part in the song. And I was like, ooh, I'll just put it right together, and just hit it right at the right moment. How I got this part was, I think I actually had, okay, so I couldn't download I could have downloaded the actual music off of the trailer for the new Batman off YouTube. But sometimes when you do that, it comes across like, it's not in stereo, it comes across mono, and it works for a lot of videos, but not always. So you'll see where I do that here at the end. So this green is actually a song a cover of it that I downloaded from Amazon, like bought, paid $1 for, and just for 2 seconds of video, really. But it was so cool. I love this song. So this actually goes, and this is where it really snaps. And this is where I feel in this video, the climax occurs, right? It's the boom ending part, the final thing. Nick Chubb's in the end zone. He's going to do that to you, and okay, so two things here. This is just so in the actual video from Warner Brothers, whoever made it, there is a version of this where the letters actually come together and create the Batman, and with this insignia in the symbol behind the letters. And I was like, man, if I would have had more time, if I would have planned this out for weeks, I might have been able to find like an After Effects project that did that. But because I kind of did this in 2 days, I just did the best I could. This is the poor man's version of it, which is really all I did was I found a really high resolution image by just Google image search of the new The Batman logo, which is that red bat, and then went into Photoshop, typed in Browns using impact font, made it really big to stretch over the bat. And then I just individually selected each letter, hid that layer and cut it. So it didn't cut it off of the impact text layer. It cut the selection from the red Batman thing, which is how I got that effect to work. People who know Photoshop, that'll make sense. Anybody who doesn't know Photoshop, basically, it's not that hard to do. The next thing that really actually bothers me about this section is it's slightly off center, and it freaking drives me nuts. Like, I'm not OCD or anything, but like, it bothers me that it's a fraction off center and I can't not see it. So that was another mistake I made because I rushed through it. So watch, you'll notice the Browns logo as it, let me render it so there's no stuttering. It's just ever so slightly off. And all I do is a small scale shift, towards you. So larger scale, small, no movement on it, no position change, just scale difference to bring that to life as Batman's coming to you. That was my version of the letters coming together from the actual trailer. So go watch the trailer. You'll see what I'm talking about when this exact moment happens in the trailer. And then it goes into the Ravens guy, which I just thought was awesome. It's like dark. You don't know who it is. I think the numbers, it could be Lamar Jackson. It actually might be Lamar Jackson. Now that I'm looking at it, it might be him, or just somebody wearing his number. It looks somewhat similar to him. But there's also a black box here because they have text. It's like always more, never less, because it's probably like the Edgar Allan Poe, like never more, I guess, which is kind of okay, whatever. But so I had to put a black box over that to hide that because I just wanted the dude. And the fact that the color is just like it's backlit behind him with that purplish blue flame going on or whatever that is. And then this shadowy enemy dark figure right in front of you to just, again, reinforce the fact that the villains are the Ravens. All of the effects that were done on this, all of it are from the Baltimore Ravens, other than there's a slight zoom effect. So you'll notice this where it zooms in. That's from a video transaction. It's the cross zoom effect that I put on there just to really just very quickly bring him right into your face. And then there's no effect. There's no fading effect. It's the Ravens production team naturally fade him into the shadow. Then we bring in the Brownie Postgame logo that is perfectly synced to the beat with the woof woof. Proud of this. This is nerdy, but I'm really proud of this. Boom, boom. It's cool. So the end, when I have, this is just an After Effects project, with the Brownie Postgame and the Twitch logo. Cause really what I'm doing in this video is, you know, it's a commercial. All this video was a commercial for me to announce that I'm moving my live content over to Twitch. Cause you look at it and you're like, why is this Twitch thing in here? Like it doesn't make any sense, but like it says, you know, Twitch TV, Brownie Postgame, follow now. So there's a call to action. When you do anything with marketing, there's always a call to action. So follow me now on Twitch. And it's kind of got a cool, like that like little effect that's on it here with the smoke and everything. It's a cool type visual effect that I think the audience, even though now you're being pitched something, you're being told to do something, it's like you forgive me for that because I do it in a way that's like visually appealing. So it's like, oh, what is this now? I did take you out of the story for a second, right? Because the story's over, right? This is the credits scene, essentially. So I don't need you to stay in, you know, in make-believe land. I'm pulling you out, and by, you know, using this cool little ring effect to bring out the logos and everything, because, you know, I think at this point people know the Brownie Postgame logo, but it's always great to continue putting the logo out there with Twitch. And I use the Twitch logo in here too, because again, if you don't actually want to read the text, just visually, you can't not look at Brownie Postgame and Twitch. So your mind goes, oh, looks like Brownie Postgame is going over to Twitch. Well, just easy. And then Monday Night Football comes up. If I had more time, I would have done, see how this Monday Night Football has a little texture. It's like an inner indentation on each letter and they're curved. I probably would have done that with this. Again, if I had more time and I really wanted to be stupid particular about it, I could have made that blend a little better. I did put some little texture effects on the numbers, and a gradient that's really subtle, but you know, to give it a little bit of that Monday Night Football look, which is kind of, again, it's the poor man's version of it. I'm not a pro, I'm an amateur, but it helped do it. And I just kind of just bring it in your face. And again, we're saying that 12, 14, 20. So this Monday is when it's happening. You know, it's like, boom, be there. It's happening that day. And then it goes into the Patreon, which on YouTube, for you YouTubers out there, the end slide, where you put the end cards, is really important on YouTube, and it actually impacts the search ranking. If you don't have that in there, it's a negative SEO effect if you don't add a card and an end slate. So this is where my little logo and the two, you know, hey, watch this next videos appear, and you want to put it in a way where it doesn't, you know, just overlap on whatever it is. So I kind of just put the Patreon thing over there in the end. The only other thing I wanted to say is this is the part here that I was able to actually sync it up perfectly without crossfading or doing anything between the actual trailer and the song that I got from Amazon. It might be the same song. If it's not, it's an amazing cover. But I think I just caught it right and just played with it till I got it feeling smooth. And then at the end here, I actually cut out quite a bit because I ran out of time. On Twitter videos can only be 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So I ran out of time to have the whole, like, there was a series of fading down, but I just went one beat or one measure, and then I took it to the last final beat at the end. Again, if I take out this crossfade, you hear that little click, that little distortion. All the crossfade just takes it out. It's beautiful. And that's it. So this is an hour and 15-minute video of my thought process around it. And usually when I'm all up here and like all these track 14, so I'm moving them all around, and I have all this extra space over here that I put all my extra stuff so I don't have to drag it a bunch of times. That's my process. It's ugly. It's not fundamentally sound from I guess a real production standpoint, and anybody who teaches Premiere or video production would laugh at me. Now, instead of deleting out the stuff, I leave in the tracks, and I just mute the tracks. It's just sloppy, but it is what it is. And then I export it. And when you export the video, just make sure nothing's selected or it won't let you do it. So export the video. And then here you can do, and for YouTube, H264 is the correct format. And then you select your preset. So I tried now to always up my videos in 4K and then give them time to do all the transcoding as I upload them. So I don't hit public or go live right away. I usually wait like an hour or two. In this case, I actually waited till the next day. So it fully baked in YouTube to transcoding. Transcoding means like when you upload a video in 4K, you upload it in that raw 4K format, and then YouTube then re-transcodes it into other resolutions that are less data heavy. So like you have 4K, 1440p, 1080p, 720p, 480, and then into the really small like 3 something and 128 or something, like whatever the stupid low ones are. So they actually transcode the video multiple times for whatever device you're on or whatever level of bandwidth you happen to have. But anyway, I always up it in 4K, and then I allow YouTube to fix that. For Twitter, it's a little different. So their guidelines. So I can do on YouTube, I can actually make it 60 frames per second. I think the actual one I have up there is not cinematic 23.976. I think it's 60. It should be. And so YouTube will accept that 60 frames per second at 4K. Twitter will not. So if I try to upload this to Twitter, Twitter doesn't like it, and it's like, we don't know what to do with this, and it automatically transcodes it in an ugly way. So you can do a Twitter preset of 1080p, and here you go. Then it defaults to the 30 frames. So yeah, so you can do the 1080p. This is the best version you can. If you go above 30 frames, it's not going to play. So I always just give Twitter what Twitter wants. And Adobe has these presets in there, make it really easy. So I don't have to go look it up every time. And for any one of these, so if I want to do like mobile device or Vimeo, I guess there's a difference between Vimeo 4K and YouTube 4K. It's probably some of these like, minutia settings that are like in here, like, encoding settings. I don't know. They're probably different, but again, I'm not a pro. I do the presets, make it easy. There are videos I've seen on YouTube that are like, oh, here's every different selection thing that you want to do for ideal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. I think most people don't give a shit or aren't doing that, and YouTube forgives, unless you're like MKBHD or like, those type of guys who are just getting to all that stuff. This is fine. And then, yeah, so you export it, and then I uploaded the tweet, and, we actually did the premiere on the Wednesday show with me and Mike Restano and my dad. I opened up the show with it, and I closed the show with it, and I got a lot of really good feedback. And that was cool because we kind of got to premiere it. You got to give those people who were there. There was like 40 or so people who were watching. Boom, they got to see the first look. It was cool. It was like I premiered my own little video, my own movie. So I love doing that, and I hope that as the audience continues to build, and as we do more stuff like this, I can keep premiering it, because I love getting the feedback. I love when people are like, "Oh my God, that gave me chills," or I'm crying watching this video. I've heard that from people before, and yeah, it's just wild. So anyway, I'll end on this. Brown's Twitter. When I started this whole thing making videos, the intent was YouTube, and then YouTube, for whatever reason, won't let me into the monetization. I can't monetize my channel, so I'm moving myself to Twitch, and but it was all, the plan was to build it up on YouTube, and YouTube's been awesome, and the audience there is awesome. And hopefully they'll come with me to Twitch as we transition over there eventually. Right now I'm multi-streaming on both. But you know, there's some people that, you know, from the very first Avengers video, like Rachel, who's out there. I know she's probably gonna watch. I don't know if she'll see it or not. There's some people out there that are like huge fans, and I can feel that they're fans. Like I can feel it. The way that they've said like, this is awesome. I live for these videos. Whether they're just telling me that because they're trying to be nice or not, but I feel that there is a passionate group of people that are just like me. And what I do is, you know, I love the Browns. My dad loves the Browns. My wife is now a Browns fan. And it's like, I want to watch this video, right? The Infinity War video I made, I've told this story a couple times, but the first video on this channel, I was on an airplane writing down every Browns moment I could think of that I wanted to put into that video so I wouldn't forget. I was like, oh, I got to do this. And listening to that audio track of the guys talking through that trailer, and I was physically crying, like emotional, thinking, just in my head, thinking about the video that I was going to make, because I could see it. I could see the damn video, and I was like, oh. There's also a Star Wars one that I did last year. That was, I think I did it for the Seahawks game. But it was really, again, I pictured it. I could just picture it. It went along with the music. Star Wars was awesome. So I make this for you, the fans. I make these videos, but the passion and what I do when I'm creating these and how I'm doing it is because I want to live up to my own standard of something that I want to watch. And I do. I watched this video probably 30 times today because I was like, yes, right at the end with a something in the way. Like when that hits, I was like, oh, great. Loved it. So, all right, guys, we've been at it for a while. I'd be surprised at how many of you guys made it through with me, but this is my creative process. This is what I think about. This is how I do it. This is why I do it. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad you liked the videos, and we'll talk soon. Peace.